Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Tuesday Night Fistivities. Karyn Bryant with you, KB here. It is another Tuesday. This is episode 31 of our show. Tonight we will be joined by Drew Dober. So this is going to be a good one. He is recently victorious. If you guys remember, he stopped Terrance McKinney a few weeks ago, and it was really a wild fight. He was in kind of a little bit of trouble himself at first before he turned it around. So always a good time talking with Drew. But for now, for Tuesday Night Festivities, before we welcome in Drew Dober, we have to welcome in the one and only 27-time World Jiu-Jitsu champion, Mr. Renato. I don't have a clock or a watch. Laranja, hi.
No, it's on Brazilian time, porra.
Okay, can we? This is episode 31. Can we at some point get it set to this time?
Listen, you're lucky. What they said in the what's the movie, The Lord of the Hang, the wizard or whatever? He said, Gandalf. He said, a wizard is neither early nor late. He arrive whenever the fuck he's supposed to be, or something like that. You remember that? That's the J.H.H. Tolkien. You remember?
Yeah, no, I know of what you speak. I'm not as familiar with every line of those, but okay.
Well, get familiar with that one, because basically the wizard is not unlike a black belt. He arrive when he's supposed to, caralho.
Okay. All right, I guess you're right on time then, right?
Yeah, like a Gandolfino.
Okay. Well, how are you? I need to turn my volume up a little bit. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, look. Wait, let's see. Let's get the lighting to be correct.
This is what I was gonna. I know, and it's funny because I've been playing around with mine too, and I did some, and I think it looks okay. But now I'm like, I still am always thinking that sometimes it just seems like it's a little too close, but maybe not.
Too close for comfort. How's it look here?
That looks good. Did you pay the Cricket Wireless?
Never mind Cricket Wireless. You know what I found out the trouble though?
What?
It was because the phone. Okay, so I got that stupid new, you know, where you can charge your phone on the fucking thing on the, like, without the wire.
Yeah, you just kind of put it on the little pad.
Well, that thing make it heel hot, you know?
Okay.
Like it is hot as fuck. Now, I've been having it, on top of that, I've been having it hide on the hang light thing. Mm-hmm. Which the light, look at that one. It's like the one on the rotisserie host. You know, like at Kenny Hodges Holsters. Okay? It's like a heating lamps.
Okay.
So it's got the whole thing. And then, if you notice, it happened twice. It happened in the fucking after party. So
I know.
2 hours and something into that shit, the phone is like, caralho, it's too fucking hot. So it kind of it overheat and shut down, and it fucked up everything. Caralho.
You know, I got 2 words for you.
Oh boy. What?
Mother freaking laptop.
Never mind the laptop. I have a Texas Instrument. That one is don't have Twitter or whatever. But, now here's the problem.
I get it. You're right.
Now,
the Instagram part, you can't do it on the laptop.
But what I'm gonna do is I found out I'm just gonna turn off the hang light, porra, just for this week, porra. And then we're gonna in the second one, okay? And then we're gonna be okay. And then I'm gonna get a whole new setup where I'm gonna buy cameras and fucking a makeup person or whatever you want me to do, porra. Okay? We gotta get it high.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, like I said, I do just for a little behind the scenes stuff. I do the festivities part here right now on my iPad, so that can handle it a lot longer, and I don't have to hold it, and it's stable. And then when we switch over, I go to the laptop, and it makes it way easier and better.
Well, I'm gonna get a laptop, a new laptop, and a new iPad from Petty Cash. I'm gonna get one from those nice, kind gentlemen who give us $1.25 donation, $1.70.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna get I'm gonna hand you on a computer.
Okay. Yeah. It's a layaway computer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, okay, because that would be great. Anyway, tonight, Renato, we have Drew Dober on.
I know we have a Drew Dober. That's the pimp of the year.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Yeah. What's your take on him? Are you jealous?
Jealous, God, are you? I look at these guys as all is my sons. The ones who came after me, the ones who is a beautiful man's. I was paved the way for these guys. So I look at these guys. I almost with a tears in my eyes. I look at these guys and I go, look what you've did. Look what you've created for these guys. You know.
Okay, I understand. Well, here, ladies and gentlemen, now we can get into this because you actually bring something up at a great time. The recently victorious, a win over Terrance McKinney. This man has been here for so long. Look at Drew Dober.
What up, guys?
How are you?
There he is.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm glad I can join you guys this late at night.
Yes.
I'm glad you
did. You say enjoy or join?
Both. Enjoy and join.
Very nice.
I'm sure a lot of the women and some of the men is enjoy you right now too.
Well, I'm definitely blessed with your jawline, considering I'm your son now.
Wow. You know. Well, you look, no child support. I call no child support. Even the DNA test, I'm not gonna believe that one.
I mean, I've been waiting for about 16 years now.
You too light-skinned. I know I'm light-skinned, but porra.
Hey, not for nothing, but Drew, is it true? I mean, some things that you hear on the internet or whatever are true or not, but did you actually not know who your father was till kind of later in your teenage years?
Right. I didn't meet my dad till I was 19. So.
Oh God, I didn't even know that. I
didn't meet my actual dad until I was 33 in this conversation right now.
Wow. Right. Your dad and me have a lot in common, porra. I bet we would get along famously, porra.
just fighting for the high scores.
Yeah, we're trying our best. World's greatest dad, porra.
Nice. Oh my God. Well, hey, listen, so I keep, obviously in the lead up to the intro, talking about your recent win over Terrance McKinney. So that's only, you're just a few weeks removed from that. What'd you take away from that? Because, you always give us these great kind of fights where there's always some excitement stuff in there. There's always, I feel like the people who are in the Drew Dober family are probably like, hey, thanks for the heart attacks every now and then before you turn it around.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely an exciting one, and my fans weren't too happy with the beginning of that fight.
Yeah.
But I was able to summarize a full fight within 3 minutes. Just creating that beautiful story. But I think Terrance just. I knew the fight was going to happen that way. As like he was going to come out hard. I was going to weather the storm and then catch him later on in the fight. I just didn't know it was going to be that extreme. Like. He came out harder than I've ever seen, and then he faded a lot quicker than I expected. And and then that was the fight.
That knee to the breadbasket or wherever you caught him, that'll tire you out real quick. That'll fade you out real quick. I mean,
well, in all honesty, so like that first knee missed, but then he was like jumping into my arms. And so I'm like holding onto his leg, falling backwards, and then that's when he landed his like 2 hooks. Man, one thing about Terrance is he's got some outrageous range. He's able to close that distance real quick. Man, I was getting into that rhythm, and then all of a sudden he was in my arms. And he's able to turn the fight on real quick.
God, are you? Yeah, a lot of people have said the same thing about me. Like they try to avoid the distance, and then they find themselves in my arms, porra. Before they know it, they in there and they're getting finished, porra. Oh God. So it's very similar.
Drew, the thing about Terrance is, like you said, he comes out, he starts real fast. I mean, this is a man with how many fights of his were under a minute or whatever, like collectively, all of his fights took only, fewer than 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something like that. So how much does that play into your mind? I know that wasn't your original opponent and stuff like that, but how much does that play into your mind knowing that basically everybody that this guy squared off with before you was finished really fast?
Well, when his name was brought up in the last minute change, I was actually very excited. He had that hype behind him. I knew what he was capable of, but this wasn't my first rodeo. I've been through some heat. I've been through some problems and survived. And so I felt like the problems that he posed, I was very familiar with, and I was very confident that I could overcome. But yeah, you can't predict a fight like that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you was younger, you might have he act different from that one. Like you earned the height to be able to withstand that shit.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, I mean, I don't like showing my durability at every single fight,
well, of course.
but I definitely have it in my back pocket.
Yeah, but it make you a fan favorite. I mean, I know.
Exactly.
Look, everybody just want to hit someone once and they go to sleep. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? But what do we watch this shit for? Why do we even watch movies? Or it's always about overcame the adversity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, that's why we all like those Rocky movies. I mean, even Rocky didn't win every single fight in those movies, but we watch it with the story and the durability and then the human will. And I think I'm a modern day, a real life Rocky Balboa.
Well,
and I love having fantastic fights.
You have the heart of hockey, but you have the looks of Drago, porra. You know?
That's true.
Yeah. So, because I bet you people don't like to hook for you as much as hockey. They go, oh, this guy, porra. You know what I mean? And they see you with the lady friend, and you have a new wifey or something?
Yeah.
I do, yes. I got married in August.
Yeah.
Nice.
They see that stuff and they go, why this guy also got to be able to fight? I hate this fucking guy.
I know. So yeah, it's funny. I want to back that up a little bit because you before one of your opponents, Nick Hine, you and his sister were together, right? And I know whatever, that's just didn't work out or whatever. But I remember that was such a funny story that like your opponent and that you guys had a relationship, and I just thought that was such a funny thing. And he was such a cool guy. I always liked Nick, and I know he retired and he's like an actor and everything now. But what's your take on the honeymoon phase? Because this guy over here next to you doesn't believe in marriage, doesn't believe in that kind of thing, loves him and leaves him.
Well, I'm trying to spread my seed. I'm like Johnny Appleseed, could argue. Okay. I mean, somebody have to do it, but it's Johnny Laranja seed.
Johnny Orange seed, yes.
Yeah, I'm spreading my seed.
Yeah, but were you hesitant to do it again? Because you know what I mean? A lot of people get married and they're like, never again if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I live my life very similar to the way I fight. I chase passion. I'm a risk taker. Mm-hmm. I go for what I want. And so, with my fights, I aim big and I take risks. Yeah. I try to get what I want. Same thing with my life outside of the cage. Nice. And I aimed big. I saw what I wanted. I pursued. I caught. And she's now downstairs.
Nice. Well done.
You did what you had to do, my brother. Yeah. I see you. I looked at you Instagram-y. I see what you're up to. Yeah. What the fuck I was going to say? But anyway, go ahead.
No, okay, so I was going to ask you, so, obviously you did just recently fight, but I don't know how quickly you like to get rebooked, and that's why I was asking about the honeymoon phase, because I guess, it was August, so it's already been a little minute, but I was going to say, do you want some time now to just kind of chill and relax with her, or are you the type now who's like, well, look, I just came off of that, I kind of shook off, a little bump in the road, and now I'm back on the winning track and stuff, so how fast do you want to keep going? Do you feel like now have a chance to kind of build that momentum back again?
Yeah, I hate long layoffs. And so I'm always eager to get back in there as soon as possible. Considering how the last fight went down, I had some bumps and bruises that I get over. And so I just got back from Las Vegas using that UFC PI, is healing the body and making sure everything's 100%. So that way we can look for a fight in July, and hopefully Bobby Green is ready.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you called him out.
Oh, hey. Sign me up. I'm there. Yeah. You want to see that shit.
Yeah, you do. Well, and for those who don't know, Bobby Green has been on this show before, so that's definitely an excellent episode to look back on. But what is it about Bobby that made you want to call him out, or why do you think you guys would have a good fight?
Man, the list goes on. Just his charisma, his excitement, the way he fights, the way he talks in the fight, how he carries himself. Man, I always want to fight people that I respect. I want to fight the best in the world, people that I respect, and Bobby Green is all of that. I've been a huge fan of his for a while. Man, I loved his performances against Nazareth and Al Iaquinta. And man, I just want to be a part of that. And man, I'm in this sport not to sneak my way to the title. I want to have loud fights. I want to have a legacy of exciting fights. And man, Bobby Green is that.
Absolute. What do you see? How do you prepare for a guy so unpredictable, so awkward like that? Like, I mean, not to give away secret, but
Yeah.
is it like you just do your thing, or are you gonna specifically train for the, you know, try to find someone who's crazy like that?
Right.
You know, I use this in every single fight. I don't focus on what the opponent does.
Yeah, some people's like that.
Himself, himself. I know how he likes to fight, but he's got a game plan against me also. And so who knows what he comes to the table with? And so I try to focus on reacting and not predicting. I work on myself in my training camp. I'm going to be the best fighter possible entering that cage, and then I just react to whatever's next. I mean, I wasn't prepared for McKinney to jump into my arms that first 30 seconds. So, man, you just got to – it's going to happen the way it happens.
He just jumped into your fucking arms. He just see you from across. You go, come, I'm yours, boy.
I'm yours. Well, one thing I remember, Anthony Lionheart-Smith, our buddy, I was working with him that night, and what did he say? He said, you're Nebraska tough with Colorado cardio. And so I know that you and Anthony have been homies for a real long time. And what is that, right? Because, you know, obviously he too is from Nebraska. And I feel like there is a mentality there. I know some other people from Nebraska through the course of my life, and they're like real salt of the earth people, real like hard workers and all that. Is there a mindset you think you have being a Nebraska boy?
Yeah, it never came easy. You know, looking at like Anthony Smith, his record, all the guys coming from Nebraska, you know, this path was never easy. It was, in my amateur fights were all full rules. Man, most of Nebraska boys have like 50 plus fights amateur. And man, there's so much experience and talent and enthusiasm. You know, I always told people that like when you get to the coast, you know, people trained, you know, to possibly fight. Right. And then in Nebraska, people fought to possibly train. So like people just had that enthusiasm to just throw hands. And Anthony Smith and I were one of those that grew up, and we were able to filter through, and we rose to the top.
Now, was you the kind of guy in high school who got like pick on for anything, or were you like a tough guy in high school, or did you have to fight your way, you know, deal with jealousy like your Uncle Hanachi his whole life?
You know, I kind of kept my mouth shut as far as the fighting thing goes. But when I had my first fight in high school, I didn't want to lose the only CD copy that I had, so I uploaded it on YouTube. So like I had it available to me all the time. Well, then the video got around high school, and so I was known as the cage fighter all through high school, and no one seemed to pick on me after that.
That's like that movie. What's that fucking movie?
Never Back Down.
Yeah, that's like the heel stuffs. You should sue that fucking guys.
I know. They pretty much just matched my life story.
What a unbelievable, Karyn.
That is. So, were you a good student in school?
No, I was I don't know. Best way to describe it, I was like a Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
Just kind of quiet in the back of the class, sleeping a ton. I wouldn't say I was the best in high school, but
look at you now.
I was just about to say that. Hey, everybody do their own stuffs. There's a lot of people who got good grades and stuffs, and he used to tell on your Uncle Hanachi, he's looking at my homework, or he's looking at my test paper. Mm-hmm. Now look at them.
The cage fighting thing worked out.
Yeah, exactly.
I know some people that like have a double major from an Ivy League institution, and they do an Instagram show with a Brazilian guy now.
And you're lucky to have even that.
Thank you, Renato.
That at any time that could go true. So be careful what you wish for.
Wow. Were you? Well, we have to ask that. Were you prom king?
No, I didn't even show up to my senior prom.
No.
Yeah, I was not involved with my high school whatsoever. I got in and got out, and like I barely graduated.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. I understand. Now we're getting a little bit of a backstory to you. I do think that's kind of entertaining to always just kind of hear what people, you know, kind of who they were. So what if you hadn't been a fighter? I mean, I guess if you already established it at that young of an age, you kind of maybe knew what you were going to do. But like, Because you got into Muay Thai first. Was that the first thing, or was it wrestling first?
It was Muay Thai. I found kickboxing when I was like 12 years old, and I ended up wrestling in high school, but I found it a little too late.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And too bad they didn't have like a Muay Thai team at the high school or whatever.
I mean, I wish they gave out scholarships for Muay Thai. I'd be all for that. But yeah, after I found out about wrestling, I just didn't have enough time to get any college's attention. I had enough time to learn that I was bad at it, and not enough time to do anything about it.
Hey, but even that is better than not having none of that, you know?
It's true.
To have a wrestling base, even a shitty base, gotta argue.
It's better than nothing. What is it about it that it's so funny? Because I mean, obviously there are some people who just love wrestling, but it feels like more often than not, and maybe it's just that we end up talking with more strikers on this show, but it does always feel like you hear like the wrestling and then there's like a tweak, like everyone's like, oh God, the wrestling. Like, why is that such a different mindset for some people? Why do you think it is that it's so hard for people to kind of love as much as they love letting their hands go?
You know, throwing hands is aesthetically pleasing. Everyone loves the knockouts and I mean, when you picture a fight, I mean, that's what you picture, you know, and you don't picture just another dude trying to like lay on another man's chest, you know? But man, wrestling is just god awful. Just with the injuries, the exhaustion, and then the fact that like one man's completely controlling, it's not a fun time for me. I try to avoid it at all costs, but unfortunately, you can't throw hands off your back, so it's a necessity.
My check is that is the maximum effort that you're gonna spend in the sport for the least amount of fun. Like at least in jiu-jitsu, you're gonna get you're going for a choke. You could maybe get a choke or you know the arm or you know. In wrestling, you're killing yourself, and there's no finish. There's no payoff. You know, in and of itself. It's a means to either stop somebody from taking you down or taking a guy down. You know what I'm saying?
Did you hear that? You're breaking up a little bit, Renato.
I mean, I felt the energy. I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yes.
I agree with him wholeheartedly. Man, I've been getting punched in the face since I was like 13 years old, and wrestling has caused me the most damage.
Oh, really? That's so crazy to think of that. It's so crazy. It is funny too, because, you know, you do always hear from people that that's the grind and that is the most difficult thing. But at the same time, people who are great wrestlers, they feel like it's a superpower, right? Because they're like, I can take you into deep water. I can drown you. You're never going to get out of this. And so, you know, knowing that it can be a superpower if you're great at it, I can see why people want to get better at it. But you're just like, this is not fun, right? I guess it's just not fun.
Yeah, I know. It's very exhausting. I try to avoid it, but man, that's just the poison of this career. You know, you got to learn how to wrestle, or else you know you're gonna sink or you know get drowned.
It's true.
But I found my abilities to like fall in love with wrestling. I just definitely prefer to punch and kick.
That makes sense. And listen, Renato, I'm sure we'll be back. We'll try to get him back in. But, you know, and I don't want to bring up like a sore subject, but, you know, you and Bobby have both fought Islam now. You know, how different did that feel, right? Because obviously there's wrestling and then there's upper echelon. And obviously Islam is that upper echelon. Like, did you notice a real difference in how he felt? Or was it like a bad night for you? Like, you know what I mean? What was there a real difference?
Yeah, it was the proficiency. Of just, man, he knew where he wanted to take the fight, how to get there, and how to like stop all my offense. You know, it was like as we were going through the dance, he knew how to place his feet, where his hands go, like how to move his body. Like he was just so proficient at what he wanted to get accomplished that I couldn't find an opening. Yeah. And I mean, the rest is history. But yeah, it was just people keep asking me like, did he feel strong or this, that? Right. Like, he actually didn't feel strong at all. He just felt very proficient at where he placed his body to make the fight simple for himself.
Okay, well that makes sense. And I guess that's the whole thing, right? It's that lifetime. It's that they have so many reps. They have there's just, it's like innate. They don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, it was definitely unfortunate for on my end.
Yeah, but it's okay. Hey, Renato, welcome back.
Hey, I heard that stuff you got talking about. How you say? Say it again.
Makhachev.
So yeah, this guy, I was watching, you know, he watched the fight today. Because I remember seeing it when it happened, but I wanted to just watch. And it's funny, it's like there's certain people like this, like for instance, Marcelo Garcia, you know? People always, there's a lot of mystique about the guy. But when you hold with him, he don't do something flashy. There's nothing you can put your finger on why he's fucking you up. Not me, he didn't fuck up, but everybody else.
Yeah.
And then you think to yourself, I don't know. I don't know. Why is this happening? You know what I'm saying? And so when I see this guy, it's like the first takedown, that like single leg he took you down with. It didn't look like that, nothing. It didn't look great. I mean, it didn't even look, it looked like the best takedown I've ever seen, you know? And then but it worked like hotcakes. I don't understand. I tried to break it down.
3 takedowns in that fight. There was only 3 rounds, so it just took one, and then that was it for the rest of the rounds. And but yeah, it was simple. Now that was the thing that irritates me the most. Where it's like the way he was fighting me was just so simple that I was like, man, like it's my job alone to make this exciting.
Yeah, it was like he was like bend down and check, like, hey, let me go ahead and check this single leg. You know, I was like, wait a second here, you can't do that, my brother. And then it worked, you know. But one thing I noticed, one of my pet peeves, especially when people fight these guys who is like, you know, the guys from there, the Hashins with the Muslim name, but they have an Amish, they look like an Amish. Whenever people get into a submissive position, like when they get in a dominant position on somebody, everybody go to the kind of like old half guard, like just almost having their legs open, but just kind of the guy's thigh is in between your thigh, you know? And you was the first fucking person I seen at least attempt the lockdown. You understand? And there was a couple of stuffs when I was really trying to figure this out, because I was like, oh, this fucking guy at least tried it. There's a couple little tweak on there that maybe change some of the outcome of that position for you. And if you want, I can show you that ones later. I mean, at another time.
Yeah,
and I'm not
sending me those videos that you always seem to send me, but yeah, just pinpoint the technique.
God are you? God are you? Those is for your wifey, not for you, Karyn. You was never
We're both enjoying them. You put in a lot of work
to lay your eyes on that. You was never supposed to feast your eyes on that. But I'm telling you, there's a couple of stuffs you was so on the high track with that. And the only thing I can say about that is a lot of people, even in that position when you have the lockdown, a lot of people is focused too much on trying to get separation up here with the guy, than to use the power of the fucking legs, the power of the lockdown, swinging that shit side to side, get that guy off the bounce. Yeah. I'm telling you, it drives me crazy, but at least you tried that. The rest of the guys, they fucking just laid there.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a 30th degree black belt to notice the things that I was trying to do against Islam.
Well,
the rest of the world had no idea what I was trying to do.
Well, listen, my brother. I know there's other people who understand, but I'm telling you. Let me just show you sometime, and you're gonna. I guarantee you're gonna go. Wait a second, because there's stuffs. Because I did a lot of undercover work at Champ Planet for many years. I was steal a lot of the stuffs out of there. And there's stuff that even black belts there do with like the lockdown and stuffs that can be tightened up. You know what I'm saying? There's little details.
Can't they do it against the Amish beard though? That's key. I don't know, man. Like the Russians got something else.
But here's the interesting stuff, because I thought about that. Even with a couple of these details not being done, he was struggle to get out of. He was trying to pass that. He was trying to get rid of your lockdown, even with not doing the thing that I'm talking about. So I'm like, poha, if you did the one stuffs that I'm talking about, I wonder if there would be, I don't know the answer, but maybe. You understand? And yeah. I'm willing to do it for free, poha, to help you.
Oh, wow.
You take it or leave it, caralho.
Take it
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting too, because you've had some, speaking of jiu-jitsu though, you had that crazy submission thing that luckily got overturned. But what was it, Leandro Santos, right? And like way back, and I remember that, and everybody was like, "What the hell just happened? Like, how did the ref wave that off? And how could he think that you tapped?" And like, I remember
Which
that
one was
being
that?
so insane. And luckily that got turned over. But like, is that the craziest thing that's ever happened to you in a fight?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I would say the craziest thing, but it was the most unusual thing. I mean, with X amount of fights under my belt, I had no idea how to like perform after that. Like I was just getting pulled, like he was pulled off me, and then the fight was over, and like I had no idea what was happening. And yeah, it's the last time Renato gets to ref.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't have nothing to do. Where was that? In the Cage Warriors?
It was in UFC Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, in Rio. Well, they know the best over there, so I can't, you know. And it was against a Brazilian guy. Forget it.
Yeah.
You're dead. It don't matter what you do. You lose. You're gonna.
I mean,
lose.
they thought the same thing. They saved my life in that second round.
Well,
how do you feel about that, being the guy that goes into enemy territory?
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's the name of the game. You're either the ticket seller or the card filler. And when I was just initiating myself into the UFC, I knew I was an exciting fighter, but I didn't have the hype, the backing. So I had to be the card filler. So that meant I had to go to enemy territory more times than most. I fought the German in Germany, the Brazilian in Brazil. I fought the Canadian in Canada, the former world champion Jamie Varner in his hometown. So I was just taking advantage of opportunity and enjoying every moment of it.
Some people thrive off that.
Sometimes. Go ahead, Renato.
I says some people thrive off that, you know, because if you're in friendly territory, you know everybody expects you. Oh, the hopes and dreams is on you. But at least when you go there, it's like, you know, they already fucking hate you and they want you to lose. So it's like you're going like, ah, fuck you. Watch this. You know, it's like it bring out the part of you that want to go, oh yeah, you know, like you think so, huh? You know, like it bring out the chip on your shoulder. Instead of like oh, I don't want to disappoint my friends and family, huh? You know?
No, I agree wholeheartedly. One of my favorite quotes from like my fight when I was like 18 years old. Flew out to Broomfield Event Center fighting this phenom in Colorado, and I was just like some 18-year-old showing up for it. And my coach just turns to me and goes, "What's the worst that can happen? You get put to sleep, wake up, we'll go get some pizza." He's like, "Nobody knows you here." So like, yeah, it just takes away that pressure of like, nobody knows me here. No one's like for me. I get to go in there and perform however I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. When you're nervous about the fight, it's not like you think, oh my God, I'm gonna get my tooth knocked out or something. You're worried that you're gonna look stupid. You know what I mean? You're gonna embarrass yourself. It's nobody. You're like, I don't care if I get killed, just as long. Please don't embarrass me, boy.
Right.
You know, that's the human mind. It's just the way it is, God.
Well, it's true, and obviously, you know, we've seen sometimes when people have won incredible fights in their hometown, but to me, being there when Darren Till got knocked out at the O2, that to me was the one where you go, oh man, I don't want to be that guy at the hometown. And so like the whole time, you know, I was just in London a couple weeks ago, and I felt that way for Aspinall. I felt that way for Molly. I felt that way for Patty. And it's not like I don't appreciate their opponents, but I just remember that feeling of the O2, just like the air just getting sucked right out.
Oh, was that Masvidal?
Yeah, Darren.
Oh, yeah, that was
brutal.
awesome.
I mean, but it was legendary for Masvidal.
But yeah, of course.
But so brutal, and I always think of that one when I think of like, yeah, do I really want to be headlining in my backyard? I don't know.
I prefer what he's talking about.
Yeah,
I'll check that any day.
Yeah.
But you know, at least, huh?
I'm doing this for myself. Like, I became a fighter. I started fighting. I've been doing all the grit, the blood, the tears, the glory, all for myself.
Yeah.
And so it's great that friends, family want to enjoy it and be there for me. But man, I'm completely comfortable with just doing this by myself in an empty auditorium. Like this is all for me.
Right.
Yeah.
What
do grits have to do with anything? You eat grits when you perform? I mean,
to make 55, you gotta eat grits and only grits and half of it.
That's Nebraska.
To that point though, Drew, do you how did you feel about fighting at Apex? You know, because some people really love having the crowd and want to feed off of them. And then other people, you know, felt so much more comfortable in the Apex because they're like, oh, it just felt like I was in my sparring session. And like, yeah, all those extra nerves that came with it weren't there. What would you prefer?
Man, I thought it was very fitting. I think I was 0-2 in 2021. I know what I'm capable of. But when I got the fight schedule at the Apex, it reminded me of back in that proving grounds, that regional local show that you're just trying to get the UFC's attention, and you got to make a statement. And so just being a part of the Apex just reminded me of like what it was like fighting in pretty much back alleys, event centers that were empty. I mean, nobody watches Muay Thai fights in Nebraska. So it just kind of reminded me of those times where I was like, man, I'm here for the love of the game and trying to make a statement.
Now, was that a good thing, or would you prefer that, or I mean, did that help you, or make you be like, ugh? Well.
I think it was fun, but I definitely prefer the audience. Yeah. And I draw so much energy from the lights and the music and the yelling and the screaming that, like, yeah. So the next one, well, Bobby Green and I, we need to do it in front of an audience for sure.
Well, Bobby needs an audience. Like, I feel like it's a ripoff for all of us when he fights without a crowd.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I do have to ask you too, you know, because you've been in the UFC now for quite some time, and I don't know if people remember that you were actually on that Tough Live season for a bit. And it's funny because you just mentioned, you said, oh, I want to do it for the glory. And then I was thinking, oh yeah, James Krause. So it's crazy, but you and James were both on that season, but didn't make it through. You were eliminated early. Like, do you think in hindsight, like, how do you feel your career could be different if you had gone through, right? Because that was the year that Chiesa won, but that's the one with Iaquinta, and, you know, a lot of these guys that, you know, for people who remember the Tough Live season. So in hindsight now, are you happy that you didn't progress in the show? Do you wish you had? Like, how do you think that would have affected your career now?
It was a blessing that I didn't make it into that house. Like, I'll be completely honest. And man, it took a little while for me to get over the lost opportunity. But man, I didn't want to be 12 weeks in a house with guys that would potentially fight. And man, fighters are absolutely insane. I'm included. And I don't want to be a part of that little group. And man, the Ultimate Fighter is just so tough, and not tough for the good reasons, not tough for like as a fighter and proving yourself. It's tough for like the production and then the chaos and and that's pretty much everything I saw.
Yeah. For me, sleep is key, and if and now fuck that. You know, they fuck with people's sleep and stuff. So yeah. Fuck with them. No, I would have never made it through that shit. Ugh.
Yeah, it's a blessing I didn't make it in the house, and so thank you, Darren Cruikshank, for pushing me away from that and allowing me to find my own path.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Cruikshank was gonna be like, I mean, his skill set.
He's good.
I had a high hopes for that guy. I mean, he did some stuff, but when I first started seeing him, I thought he was gonna be like almost maybe championship material, you know, like it's so dynamic. But he has some
talented. So
tough breaks. Huh.
The story with me in my fight with Darren Cruikshank, or the one round that we had, was, I mean, just leading up to, like, I mean, we knew we were gonna fight eventually, but like you never knew when. And so, like, you make weight, and as soon as we got done making weight, they're like, all right, you're fighting tomorrow. It's only one round, so you have 5 minutes to prove yourself, and you're fighting that guy. And so I'm in this locker room warming up with just complete strangers. And finally, I was like, does anyone know this Darren Cruikshank guy? And one guy was like, yeah, I know him. I'm like, what does he do? And he's like, he's a southpaw wrestler. I'm like, oh, man, I don't want a wrestler on top of me for 5 minutes. So, all right. And so then get into the fight, we tapped gloves, and full-on karate expert, just black belt in karate, threw everything in the kitchen sink at me, and I was ready for this takedown. Yeah.
You should have never listened.
So I had some poor advice going into that fight.
Did you ever remember who the guy was?
Yeah, who said it?
Advice? I wish I remembered. I have no idea.
At least he didn't make it. So fuck him anyway.
Yeah, right. Well, you said, you know, in the house that everybody's crazy, including yourself. Like, are you a quirky fighter? Are you a superstitious fighter? Are you, you know, high maintenance when it's fight camp? Like, why would you say that about yourself?
I mean, I think every fighter has To be self-aware, I think mine is just my giddy happiness, just my over-the-top friendliness to people. I think that just weirds people out. Like, my mental instability is the sheer fact that I can be real good friends with you and also try to knock you out and be completely okay with it. Like, I've been friends with like all my opponents, and yeah, like I'm okay with giving my friends concussions.
Nice.
That's the best way. I think that's the best way, because that means you're not gonna fight with too much emotion. You know, like that's why you can fight somebody like Bobby Green, because if you was the kind that gets so emotional, that guy's gonna get you all in your emotion, in your feelings. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise, you can just relax and do your stops. You know.
I mean, I find that like when the opponents really enjoy each other, like it makes for a more fantastic fight. Like when you get guys like Bad Blood, like Masvidal and Colby Covington, like neither one of them don't want to lose so bad
that
like they won't take any risks.
That's
but, like,
true.
When
I
you
know
guys
what
are
you're
boys
saying.
and you're just like roughhousing in front of millions of people, like then you just can open up and like I don't care if I lose, so we're just gonna do some crazy spinny shit and like go nuts.
That's
and,
a great point. I never
friends
thought
make
about
the best fights.
Yeah, I never thought about that. That's true, because all those other ones, they playing their cards so tight. They like, they can't lose to this fucking guy. You know?
You're right. That makes a lot of sense, and you're right. And for that exact reason, dang, you and Bobby would be fire, because both of you have that mindset. Because Bobby is like do or die. Like, you know, he lays it out every single time. Like I've never
But he seemed like he liked to kind of talk
like,
shit. He seemed like he liked to kind of hate you, kind of not like you though. No?
Well, during the fight, he likes to talk crap.
Yeah,
he don't like to be nice to you.
Man, I still yet to receive some trash talking from any one opponent, and I've been looking forward to it. And I kind of thought that like Alexander Hernandez was going to give me some heat.
Oh,
and I didn't get to that either. So, man, that's maybe what I'm looking for.
What is there to say? Renato, give me your best trash talk about Drew Dober. Like, what are you gonna say?
I go, look at those dimples. Look at you, baby blue eye. And then I jump into his arm and I faint like that. And then he's a standing ache. And then I don't think there's anything that can be done. You saw happen to McKinney. I can't. I'm even older than McKinney. My heart, I can't take it. It can't take that.
So I wish you could have told me beforehand. I mean, that's why McKinney jumped into my arms.
Maybe. Well, how good are you at giving trash talk? Because on the flip side of it, Drew, I got to be honest. Like, if I was to make a list of top 10 trash talkers, I don't know that I would put Drew Dober on there, because I wouldn't assume that you're that guy that would talk trash. Like,
I don't reciprocate. I have my own way of talking, and I'm not quite sure if it's trash talking. But I've always been just curious on like in that natural setting, like what it's going to be like when a press conference when somebody starts like laying the heat on me. Because you know, who knows what comes out, right?
You're probably gonna laugh. You're probably just gonna laugh at that shit. I bet. I can't even
experience it, so I have no prediction.
Because it's funny you say that, because I actually think I would be pretty good at trash talk if need be. You know, like there's never going to be an anchorman showdown of anchor teams fighting each other, right? But if there were, obviously, we UFC people, we would like crush every other sports team, or you know, every other analyst crew. But there is a part of me that's like, yeah, like you said, that setting at a press conference with a hot mic and the option to roast somebody, like it could be really fun. I understand the appeal.
But you would.
I think that the goal was to be witty, like Chael Sonnen, like had it down to a T, right? Like you don't just throw out profanities like it's your first time cussing. Like you just gotta have that wit, the backing, and man, I honestly feel like it takes a lot of research and forethought, and I don't think I put a lot of that thought into my opponents. He
come with a lot in his back pocket. He's already heady. He's doing it like it's WWE. You know what I'm saying? He's headed for you. You know, he have a bunch of shit.
Cue cards for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, but he have a lot of like one-liners and stuff that's, you know, like he's like Henny Youngman of fucking, you know.
Well, yes. It's so true. Well, and Chael's so great at it. And the thing is like when we used to work together over at Fox, like that was what was so fun about him, is knowing that he has that in him, right? And even that some of it's prepared, But even on the like a live instant reaction setting, like he's got an encyclopedia of one-liners, of roasts, of whatever.
He's sharp.
And
he's very
so sharp and so smart and so funny, and that's what I loved working with him, because like I can just look at him, like you can just look in his eyes and you're like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? And so I would just like lob him up something ridiculous, because it was fun to watch him just hit it out of the park and roast somebody.
Definitely worked out well for him, but unfortunately, a lot of the wrestlers need to do that part of the game, like Colby Covington. But when you talk with your hands, you don't have to use your mouth so much.
Yeah. Hey, what did you think? Speaking of Colby, you know, I'm guessing you probably watched the fights on Saturday, and Colby could be next for Khamzat. What do you think? How do you think that would play out?
That's a very intriguing fight. They're both solid wrestlers. I can see the fight playing out very similar to Colby versus Usman. Just kind of like some heavy punches, but majority of like wrestling, who's trying to dominate the cage. As far as a prediction goes, I could see Colby taking the W with a decision on that one.
Really? What do you think, Renato?
I think that this fight, for as you know, it took some of the shine off of Khamzat because you know, obviously he didn't just bulldoze over. No,
he's
hold
the
on.
number 2 guy.
Well, hold on. I understand. That's not my position on this. I'm saying all the chalk around the campfire is that this guy is he's not as like we thought he was. Blah, blah. But in my eyes, this was the best stuff that could have possibly happened to him, because I think that he was overconfident. Yeah. I think he just assumed that he was just gonna do the same stuff to this guy, and then when it wasn't going his way, he thought he's gonna force just being like, "What? I'll knock you the fuck out." You know what I'm saying? Like, he was forcing it out of like, this little fucking guy, you know? So he was in his feelings a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He was like, nah, this can't be. I'm going to just smush this guy. And he wasn't going with a game plan. He wasn't, you know, being smart in there. Yeah. Which he's capable of, I believe. So I think he's going to have a different mindset that it's better it happened now instead of in these next fights, you know? And he got the W. So I think for me, I didn't lose any of the excitement about this guy. I think he fought a shitty fight, I'm saying, you know, when you see like a LeBron James and he have like 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists, and you go, yeah, I guess that, you know, that was a lackluster performance. You know what I'm saying? This was, for him, this was not his best. And that means he's capable of, the sky's the fucking limit. You know what I mean? So that's what people should be thinking about instead of, he's human now. I think. Yeah.
I think he talked his way to a number 2 or 3 spot. And now, even after that performance, I mean, it's already set. Like, we're talking about him with Colby, Usman, you know, all those cats. And so he did what he needed to do. And plus, he went in and had a fantastic fight. You know, those are the fights that I prefer people to have. Well, so, man, it's a win-win situation for him.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure he didn't prefer that. I'm sure he preferred to just smash, you know, or smash, or whatever, you know. But
we all prefer simple, easy fights. But I mean, the reason I'm on the show is because I nearly died in my last one.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Well, it's true too. It's a character building fight for him for sure. So what do you think then about the option of Volkanovski coming up to your weight class?
Man, he's jumping into murderer's row. I mean, like the lightweight division is the toughest division in UFC, and I mean, he has all the abilities to like be in there with the best. But I mean, fighting like the number 5 guy of RDA, I mean that also like that'd be a tough fight for him, and that's number 5. And you know, with cats like Islam, who just doesn't seem to have a problem, and then Justin Gaethje, who's probably more gritty than, you know, Volkanovski with a larger size. Like, I think it'd be fun to watch, but I honestly would prefer Henry Cejudo to come in and take that fight.
Yeah.
Well, Did you have something to say, Renato?
No, I just, both him and Cejudo, I would love to see all that shit. Like, I would love to see how he does, how Volkanovski does, and I also want to see Triple C or whatever. You know, I want to see all that.
Yeah, I'm down with the Triple C option too, but at the same time, you know, remember Volk used to be a rugby player at what, you know, the legend is that he weighed 220 pounds at one point or something, and knowing that makes me think, and Henry's, you know, like knowing that makes me think he would be okay fighting Cejudo as good as Cejudo is.
Yeah.
But like Henry is saying, oh, nobody's put you on your back, nobody's taking you down.
Let's see it. Let's see it then. That's why we want to see that.
Yeah.
You know, I love that kind of shit.
I think skill-wise, that would be the fight to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weight classes are significantly different. Some of that talent probably above the fight doesn't for you, and that power is quite different.
Can you hear him?
No, wait.
Cut a significant amount of weight to get to 55 because I've trained with him straight. Like,
wait, he can't. Don't waste your.
Oh wait, hold on. I lost you for a second, Drew. You were saying you trained with.
It's coming in and out. You.
Kamaru Usman. And
Usman.
man, yeah, 170 is a lot bigger than 55. I mean,
yeah.
Like these margins are a lot wider than people expect.
Than people maybe,
true.
Maybe think.
But maybe because Volkanovski, like you said, played rugby at the level of a fucking 205 pounder or whatever. That means that those muscles is under there somewhere, you know? I mean, caralho. I think that's why he hit so fucking hard in that weight class, you know, in that weight class. You know what I mean? He seemed powerful in that weight class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I sparred guys that were in the NFL, and that was simple work, but not guys that are like proficient at causing concussions. Yeah, Justin Gaethje hits harder than any guy that I've, you know, sparred in from the NFL.
Wow.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously it's a gimme here who you think wins that fight when he fights Oliveira.
Oh, man, it's a unique one, right? Just because Charles Oliveira poses the same problems that Khabib posed, but he gets caught often. And Gaethje is not the guy that you want to get caught by. Like, the dude can accidentally hit you hard. So it's one of those things where I could put money on Gaethje finish him in the first.
Really?
I could just see that's one of those fights I would never fucking bet on because I could envision both ways happening, you know.
Totally. And that's what makes it such a great matchup.
Yeah. And it's not like Gaethje don't get hit too, but we know he have the chin from fucking hell, you know.
I know.
Speaking of chin too, Khamzat, he better not fight like that anymore because his brain is gonna be mush.
Yeah.
Those punches that he took, I don't see anybody taking some of those ones where his fucking head was snapped back. I mean, and he was just eating that shit, but you can't do that for that long.
No, you can't.
But
you can't.
I was shocked. I was like, oh God, okay.
That was a hell of a fight. It was very exciting. And it was one of those that was just like I said, you know, Gilbert says he wants a rematch, you know, and he said, oh, I think if we had 2 more rounds, it could have been a difference maker. And I do kind of agree with that. Like, I think because Khamzat hasn't gone that far in his fights, like if it had been a 5-rounder, Gilbert has that experience, like it could have made a difference.
It could, but then if he do it, I guarantee you Khamzat is not gonna behave the same way he did. He's gonna respect the guy. That was just a total lack of respect.
If I remember the fight correctly, to me it seemed like Burns was fading more than Khamzat was. Khamzat was kind of sticking to his plan. Like the entire time.
He did
right?
at the end.
He got caught, but I mean, he was still doing his thing like he did in the first round, right? Where Burns went from being crisp to just straight slugging in that third, and like to add 2 more rounds on top of that. Like, I don't know if the fight would have. I mean, I feel like it would have kept on going in that trajectory.
Yeah.
I think in my mind, the reason I agree with Gilbert in that is just that those quote unquote championship rounds where you prove your mettle a little bit more.
Where you pull it out of
maybe it would have really just messed with Khamzat to be like, holy crap, I'm in a 5th round. Like, I never had to fight more than 2 minutes, you know?
Yeah, maybe. That's where you never know until you see it, you know? But I'll tell you what, I think in a loss, Burns' stock went up, you know?
Yeah.
I even for me, I always thought he was a great fighter, but this put him in that category of like, oh, he's, you know what I mean? Like the heart of this fucking guy.
So much heart.
So much heart and danger. I mean, wow. I mean, I love that fight. Don't get me wrong. When I said a bad performance, I don't mean a bad performance from Khamzat. I mean, he wasn't efficient like he can be.
Right.
He can do a better job than he did.
True.
You know what I'm saying? There's a way to approach.
That was the first time you ran into adversity. You know, in his
Yes.
fourth UFC fight was his first time running into it. And so, yeah, I mean, you can't be picture perfect in the UFC. There's no easy fights.
No. Hey, you know, speaking of this, Drew, with you giving your analysis on this, you know, I'm saying this as a professional. You got a pretty good face. Has anybody
Wait, this is
ever
for
talked to
who?
you? I'm asking him if he's ever thought about doing analysis, television work. I know you do some modeling. I'm just saying the fact is, obviously, you've been in the fight game a long time. You've gleaned a lot of information. You know a lot of information. A lot of people do, you know, start to look to sitting at the analyst desk. Is that anything that you have thought of? Like, what do you, like, where do you want to grow in your MMA career?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love to. You know, for me, fighting is always first. But secondary is definitely talking about fighting any way means necessary. So whether it's coaching, mentoring, or being part of the broadcast in MMA, I'm all for it, man. I live and die by the sport, and talking about it gives me such, you know, excitement. Man, whether I'm in or out of the cage, man, this is my career. This is what I'm always going to be doing. And so being behind a desk and talking logistics would be fantastic.
Do you look at Alan Jouban as the biggest obstacle to that happening?
Who was that?
Alan Jouban. In order to do that, you have to dethrone Alan Jouban.
There can only be one.
Right. I mean, I feel like the broadcast team is getting a bunch of in and outs. I feel like there's a new face behind that table, like every time you watch the UFC. So.
But he's gonna do everything in his power to make sure you don't ever get that chance, Porha. Alan Jouban. He knows that you're the biggest.
There can only be one blue steel at the desk.
Yeah, you're the biggest threat to his legacy, Karyn. Luckily,
it's a solid threat. I'm coming after it.
Yeah, luckily I'm not there. It's beef. You could forget about him, Karyn.
Well, your boy Anthony is doing really well, and honestly, I love working with him. And he's somebody who, you know, I call him the fight professor when he's at the desk with me, and Anthony is somebody who has just really grown into that position so well, and I mean, he's great at it now.
Well, he's light skinned, but he don't
have. growing up with him, I knew what he was capable of, and just seeing him be able to like take the opportunity and then be successful with it, man. I'm a huge fan of his. So
yeah, he's hard one not to root for. He's fantastic. I love that guy.
I know. He's great. Hey, so listen, Drew, before we let you get out of here, like, what do you do for fun, right? If MMA, if fighting is living,
he's married. What is it? The fun. There's no fun.
That's right.
What the fuck he's gonna do?
Go
to dinner, hand a movie. That's
no. Actually, my wife is far more extrovert than I am. So when I'm on her time, we're out and about doing things, and it's quite exhausting, to be honest. We just got back from Las Vegas, and she had me at a pool party, nightclub, and the full kit and caboodle. And so as far as fun goes, I like drinking wine. I like going out and dancing, checking out some live music. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I wasn't a fighter, I'd have pursued this whole dancing thing. And if all else fails, Dancing with the Stars, here I am.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's like, you're speaking to my heart here. Like, a man who likes to dance is a huge thing. Like, that's huge.
I mean, maybe because I was raised by women, but playing some music while cleaning the house. Like, I'm the worst dancer in the family, but so I had to keep up with the gals.
So what kind of style of dance you do? Interpretive jazz? What is African dance?
Exactly, you nailed it. Do you not receive the audition tapes I've been sending you?
Oh, fuck. Wait, is
Dancing
it me or
with
you
the
guys?
Stars. So remember when Chuck was on, so you would totally do that, huh?
I mean, that'd be fun. I've had minimal professional instruction or guidance, but to be on that show and be a part of that, like, that would be incredible.
I agree. I would love it too. I would love that personally, but
I would
Renato,
love
would
to
you
see
do
this. Would I do that one?
I mean, dancing is a lot like fighting. and vice versa. One is just a little bit more aggressive than the other, but
right, because obviously footwork is key for you.
Mm-hmm. And understanding, your opponent or partner's movement. Right. I mean, I'm constantly looking for dance partners in the UFC.
Nice. Well, Terrance jumped into your arms. You did a nice lift.
Oh, God,
we tried to do the whole what is that movie?
I was just about to say that. Blades of Glory.
Blades of Glory? Oh, Lordy. Wrong movie.
You
but
remember when they discovered...
I'm glad you're into it.
Dirty Dancing, but
you remember they was fighting? And then they discovered that the move in the middle of the one,
Was that similar to the technique that you're trying to get me to do to Islam? I'm not for that.
That's a whole different stuff. That's more like
the leg locking and everything.
That's more like a scissor fucking. That's why it's so forbidden. It's the forbidden dance, caralho. You know what it's like? That's a lambada.
The forbidden dance.
Yeah, what I'm doing is more lambada, caralho.
These are the private lessons he's offering me.
Yeah, be careful.
This African American.
I'm gonna send her my location before we talk in person.
Oh, caralho.
Exactly. So when you tell people, like, if you don't hear from me even in an hour, send help.
Wow. You gotta pay the price, caralho.
I love it. Hey, well, listen, Drew, we should probably let you get going. I know we've taken a lot of your time here on a Tuesday night, and it is, later for you. You're in Colorado, right?
Fairly late.
You're in Colorado. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, you're in Nebraska.
Look who's here, though. Wait, before we wrap it up.
Oh, Lionheart.
Who's here? Look who's here to pop in.
Yeah, what up?
He said not yet.
Did he pop it in?
Wait.
He did. He said not.
Hey, what's up, man?
My man.
Put some light on that light skin there.
I'm working on it. I'm getting tan and shit, and it's there we go.
Oh, you look like Twin Brother Darkness.
Dude, if Drew Dober's here, I'm fucking coming in. That's
not the best looking man in the show.
Yeah.
No. We all know Drew Dober is the prettiest person I've ever met in my whole life.
Oh, God, are you?
Well, listen,
shucks.
Anthony, we were just talking before about how great you have done, like being a fighter and then going to the analyst table. How great would it be for us to have Drew at the table with us sometime?
Listen, I had to do the analyst thing because I can't fight as good as Drew does. That's why. Listen, Drew's got. Listen, you got to give me something here. Drew is already prettier than me. He fucking fights better. And
I told you.
And he's got the good hair. You got to give me something.
It's discouraging. It's disheartening.
It can get there at times.
Nah.
If you talk about this fight game and how I became a fan of Anthony, I used to go to these Friday night fights just for sheer entertainment. I wanted to be a part of it, And every time I showed up, this man was in the cage fighting anyone from 85 to heavyweight. Just anybody wants to show up. Anthony Smith is pretty much putting his cot in there and just living in it. And I was like, man, one of these days I hope to be as tough as Anthony, and had to showcase it last fight.
Oh, Jesus
I love it.
Christ. Did you tell the story about how you were in school or something, and people were watching YouTube and found out that you were fighting on a YouTube video while you were in high school?
Yeah.
Yes.
You told that? Okay.
He told
I was the one they were trying to do an 8-man tournament, but the only way to qualify for the tournament is you had to have 2 fights in the promotion. And I was like, I only have 1. So how we get it? He's like, well, I have an event this weekend. I'm like, put me in it. And so Friday, I got to school, did my morning conditioning, high school, did the full wrestling practice, and then drove 30 minutes to Fremont and just fought some random guy on a school day just so I can qualify for the 8-man.
What
That's
a legend.
Awesome.
Hey,
I love it. Anthony,
and we were
like we said before, Nebraska tough and Colorado cardio, something like that, right?
Nebraska tough with Colorado cardio. It's no can defend.
I love it. But I was asking you, what do you think it is about your guys' mindset? Because, it is true that, and Drew was saying it's because a lot of you guys just had to, work a lot harder, right? And, had to do all these ballroom fights and, just so much more small circuit stuff.
Well, I think some of it, we were way behind, the West Coast kind of fight scene. So
yeah,
the guys that we were fighting were just as tough as anybody else, but we weren't getting any recognition for that. So if you were, say you're in California, there's all these regional shows, and half of those guys fucking suck. So every 4 or 5 fights, you're fighting 4 or 5, guys that aren't very good, and then you fight one tough guy, and then maybe you lose, maybe you have a struggling win or whatever, and then you go and you fight 4 more not very good guys. Mm-hmm. We didn't really have that here in the Midwest. Everybody here, because the scene was so small and kind of niche, everybody was fucking good. So every single person we fought, like maybe we had, as amateurs, maybe we had 4 or 5 losses or whatever, but like those 4 or 5 guys were good enough to beat a lot of pros. And back then, Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, and like part of Minnesota, they weren't sanctioned by any athletic commissions. So like, I bet if you go back through and you look at actual dates and you look at Drew Dober's record, I bet a good handful of those people were pros while fighting Drew as an amateur, because there's a bunch of those in my record. So we just had super tough fights all the time. There was no easy fights at all. So I think we're just hard-nosed, and so anytime we kind of went outside of the Midwest, we always did really well, but no one outside of the Midwest would really book us. Like it was hard to get fights, in anywhere on the East Coast or Florida or California. Like they just didn't want to fuck with us at all. So we all just stirred in this little pot and fought each other constantly.
I was just going to say, Drew, did you fight the same guy 5 times?
Yes, definitely. And Anthony and I, we share opponents as well. So him and I, we fought the same. How that happened, I'm still unsure. But I remember back in the days, like we had to pay money to get fights on either of the coasts, and so we would spend money to try to get opportunities.
Man, that's crazy. But
the Wild West. It was the Wild West. We did it for the love of it. Like it wasn't cool. Like here in Omaha, you were not cool if you were an MMA fighter at all. Like it wasn't no, not at all. You were a fucking psychopath.
What?
Like it wasn't cool. And that it's just.
But amongst guys, at least it was cool. No, I mean, what guys like you fight us?
There was no ladies in those audience. Like you're
how it is
for
now.
yourself, because no one's paying attention, nobody cares, and then you tell somebody about it, they're like, "Ew, gross! You do that?"
Wow.
Well, that's why it's not like when I go other places is when I get recognized. Like here in Omaha, like it's not weird to see me going into a gas station to get an 18-pack of Busch Light, because they're like, yeah, I've seen that fucking idiot fighting at the goddamn Harris Casino when he was like 16 years old. Like they don't give a shit. It was normal. So
they sick of you.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah,
kinda.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild.
Hey, I wouldn't have it any other way, man. It was such a beautiful time, and sometimes, like, I always reminisce of it. Like, before there was athletic commission, before there was like all this hype and hoorah, and like this pressure to win, and all this stuff. Like, we were just doing it just to have fun, and just those times were so incredible. And I'm sure Anthony feels the same. Yeah,
the stories. I still tell the stories from the regional scene, like fighting in. You guys, I've told the stories, some of them on here before, fighting in barns and strip clubs and country bars while fat chicks are riding mechanical bulls during the fight. Fighting twice in one weekend, not in the same show. Like tournaments were a thing back then, but there's times where I fought Friday night in Kansas City and then Saturday night in Sioux City, Iowa. Like we just fought because it was we loved it.
Guys from the audience, fighting twice in one night, not knowing like when you're fighting or if you're fighting. There's like, I'm thinking about fighting, and then all of a sudden you're not, and then all of a sudden like you're in the cage already. Like there was no predictability with anything that was happening.
No, I remember when the sport got sanctioned here in Nebraska, and they were like going over the stuff that we were gonna have to do, like the physicals and the medicals and all that stuff.
Right.
And I remember like the blood test being like, and you got to get tested for hepatitis and HIV and all that stuff. And thinking back and going, oh my God, how many crackheads did I fight that might've had AIDS? Like I was so nervous that first time. Like I remember having people in triangles and like hitting them with elbows and cutting them, and there's bleeding all in your face. And like there was no blood test. There wasn't even a doctor in the building. It's like that guy might have had AIDS.
I had to.
My favorite story
HIV
is when these promotions were going on. There was one promotion where it was all guillotine chokes, because everyone knows how to throw a guillotine. Nobody knows how to defend one. Right? And so the next promotion, they decided to outlaw like the guillotine choke in the first round. And they also said that if you're finished within like 30 seconds, you're allowed to immediately have a rematch, right? Mm-hmm. So then the first fight with that rule, the dude gets laid out. There's TKO'd in 30 seconds. He wakes up and immediately wants a rematch. And so they restarted just then and there, and he wins by decision. So the dude went 1-1 that night against the same guy.
The same guy?
How pissed off was
so
the other
amazing.
guy?
Wow.
How pissed off was the guy? He must have been like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, furious.
Oh, I know, right?
Guaranteed.
But like the dude, like, but that's Nebraska. That's Nebraska for you. The dude gets laid out and goes immediately wants a rematch, and the other guy goes, "All right, let's do it again." You know, it's like everyone's all ready to do it. I feel like you get to like people are halfway intelligent enough to go, well, let me train for, or let me do this. Like, let me think about it. Us Nebraskans are just like, yeah, when and where? I'll show up.
Yeah, we'll be there. I think that's why.
That serves you well, though. Honestly, that's why both of you guys always have a lot of fan support. Neither of you has been in a boring fight. Like that's why you guys will never get fired. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's why, like, when you see us in there and we're smiling, we're having fun. Like, sometimes I look at Drew and I almost feel like I know what he's thinking. Like, there's all these lights and the cameras and this big ass crowd. Like, I did this shit for free with cows like 5 feet from here. Like, it's like, you guys are making a big deal of this shit. This is not that big of a deal. We've been doing this shit since we were teenagers. It's and in way less cushy situations. Like, I remember when I made it to the UFC, and they had people there that were like, "All right, who do you want to wrap your hands?" I was like, "Wrap my hands? You guys got people that do that shit for you? Like, that's pretty cool." Like, just little shit like that. Like, they like brought us our water, and you like,
can I get one of these water?
Yeah, like someone else brought you the water and like bags of ice and shit. Like, this is pretty cool. Right. Like, I felt fancy as shit having someone else bring water to me. That was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
But Drew, what was the weirdest place you fought then? Yeah, because like, was it a barn or something? Like, what was the weirdest place you fought?
Like events and parking lots.
Yeah.
So just like a ring right in the middle of the parking lot.
Did you ever fight at that car lot in my hometown? Yeah. We fought in the car lot parking lot.
In Iowa, there was like a high school gymnasium.
Nice.
Trying to think. There was this one time. Luckily I wasn't fighting, but I was like working in the cage. It was an outdoor event, and it got so humid that there was a thin layer of like water on the canvas. And so everyone was fighting on ice skates. Like, you'd finish the takedown and slide all the way to the other side of the cage. Like, at the point where like you had to know a submission because nobody's striking in this cage right now.
That's gangster.
In South Dakota one time, there was this, I wasn't fighting in this one either. I was just cornering some friends, but it was an outdoor event at a racetrack, like a dirt track racetrack. And they'd run like 2 fights and then run 2 races and then run 2 fights and then 2 it was like this big ordeal. But the cage was so close to the dirt track that it would throw mud into the cage. So while the races were going on, like it's in the middle of the summer, it's hot as fuck outside. Right. And they're trying to wipe this like mud off of the canvas, but it's just smearing like this real thin layer of like mud and like just grimy. It was like this just thin layer, like slick shit on this canvas fucking top. And actually, you know what? I think I cornered Derek Minner there.
Yeah, he just
funny enough.
He just see? Oh, okay.
No,
I
can't see the comments. But
he cornered me there, and he put the laugh with the crying.
Yeah, I cornered Derek Minner there. So there was just this thin layer of mud that was just on the top of this floor. So then they'd fight a couple times, and then people would be slipping and falling, and guys are tearing ACLs. And fortunately, Minner's kind of a wrestler anyway, so he just got a hold of people, and they just kind of fell down on ice skates. It was fucking ridiculous though. Like, literally, my
favorite one was like they would consistently have these outdoor events, but they would never put like the gazebo top or like a tent on top. So consistently the dudes would just train to make sure that the opponent was facing the sun.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Guys, this shit really happened.
Yeah, like, I believe it. Yeah.
It's real life. This shit really happened.
One of my favorite stories. Shout out to, was it Mike Van Meer? Little minivan.
Yeah, I remember him.
So it was like the square cage, and he shoots this double leg. I mean, the dude was like 5'6" fighting a guy that was 6'8". Like, it was outrageous. He shoots this double leg, plows into the fence. The door opens, and they both come flying out of the fence. He hits his head on whatever floor they're on, and like we just continued laying there. So they had to like wake him back up and bring them both back into the cage and close it. And then they continued the fight where Mike won by decision after being knocked out by his own takedown.
Oh God. I remember like the old school OFC days where the original cage was a square cage, but it was on the floor. And like the heavyweights would run each other into the fence. And sometimes the corners would separate and the cage would break. So there'd just be like people from the crowd and security and shit would just they just put their hands up and just lean.
Yeah, I seen that kind of shit too.
And hold the fucking corners of the cage together while the fight was happening. Crazy.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I miss
There
those
used to be days like that here in California before it was legal. We used to watch in the early 2000s. We used to go to like shitty clubs and stuff like that. You know, like nightclubs and stuff. Smell like you can smell the stale booze and the sticky floor and shit like that. But it was fun too because you felt like you was doing something illegal. You know, it was like, you know what I mean? It was like a speakeasy. Oh, Neil McKinney is here.
Hey, how are you?
Neil.
Neil McKinney.
But it was such a special time because like there was really not a whole lot of forethought. I feel like the hardest thing of fighting, or the two hardest things, are the weight and the weight, right? And then just knowing, like, it's when the bully goes, I'm going to meet you after school in the parking lot. And he had all day to think about it. Right. Where these events, like, you just showed up and, like, you stepped on the scale at 5. You found your opponent at 6. Fight start at 7. Like, you literally had to think about it for 15 minutes. And then you're already, like, in there punching face.
Right.
That's great. But, I mean, that speaks to you guys' adaptability and maybe why when you've had, you know, like quote unquote late notice opponent changes in the UFC, it's still maybe a week or two, you know, or several days. Like if you are indoctrinated with that mindset, then I would think so much other stuff is just going to be like, whatever. Like, no big deal.
No big deal.
Oh, wait.
Say what?
I didn't hear that.
You cut out. Sorry.
Say that again.
Andy, do you have any like superstitions or quirks leading up to a fight?
No, not really. Not really. I don't think that. I think some of it's just the way that my career's gone. I haven't ever done anything consistent enough. Like nothing's ever been the same too many times. That like I haven't ever had a situation like even cutting weight. Like maybe when I was cutting really hard, I think I probably had a couple things that I like had to do that I thought I was going to make weight, but everything's kind of different. I think the more I try to force myself into, you know, like sometimes you do something leading up to a fight, or whether it's the night of the fight, or you play a playlist, or you warm up a certain way. There's been times where I was like, all right, I need to recreate that. I need to do that again. But it never feels the same again. Like I used to try to make myself feel a certain way before I went into a fight, whether it was super hype or really calm or really, I don't know, amped and angry. Anytime I've tried to recreate it's just never worked out. So I just feel however I feel. Like sometimes I warm up really hard and for a long time, and sometimes I barely warm up at all. It just depends on how I feel. Sometimes I'm calm on the walk, and sometimes I'm hype as fuck and just going crazy with the fans. I think I've just figured out that just however I'm feeling that day, I just go with it.
Just lean into what you're feeling. Why, are you superstitious, Drew?
No. I think this is the manner in which that him and I kind of grew up in this field. It's like we didn't have any time to develop like patterns.
Yeah.
And I was in the same boat. Like I was trying to simulate stuff, but it never worked the same. But one of the beautiful things is, you know, with the amount of experience that Anthony and I have, is we have so much evidence of success. Like I was like super tired before a fight, and I went out there and won. And I was like super hyped out, you know, before a fight, and I did well there as well. So it's like in the locker room, and you're trying to fish for like, how is this gonna, like, we're okay with anything. Like nothing is ever consistent, and we always find a way. And so we never had the ability to become superstitious.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And
it's great.
I wish we had some shit that was the same for a while. That'd have been nice. But he's right. I think he said it perfectly. We haven't ever had an opportunity to create patterns. It's just.
Well, what about music? You used to say that you listen to Young Buck.
Yeah, like I guess I wouldn't say it's a superstition, but my music choice is typically the same, but it starts a little bit slower, and then as we get closer to the fight, it just because of the way that I'm feeling, it gets a little more amped up, a little more hardcore, a little more like gangster trap house kind of stuff. Because for whatever reason, like I envision that I'm like a gang member right before I fight. I don't know why, but like sometimes I'm a cool, calm gang member, and sometimes I'm like a young buck gang member. It's just depends.
Drew Dober is listening to Anita Baker.
Some Katy Perry.
It happens.
Katy Perry.
It happens.
Actually, true story. And now since I have Anthony here, so I was trying to find a consistent walkout song, right? And it came down to like 2 songs. It was "This Is How We Do It" Montel Jordan, or "Return to the Mac" by Mac Morrison. Right? And as soon as I thought about that, Anthony walks out. So I'm like, "Oh, I made my decision easier."
I guess there we go.
I'm like, I can't live up to that.
I'm telling Drew Dober and I might be the same person. Like, how the fuck do we end up with those 2 walkout songs from the same city, in the same era, the same everything? Like, that's wild.
But you still use Montel Jordan then? Drew, you don't use that Montel now still, do you? Okay.
I respect that. Both of those you can't lose with those songs. I mean, but I love me some Return of the Mac. Oh.
Return of the Mac is great.
A lot of people don't realize this. You know Montel, I'm not Montel fucking Jordan. Mark Morrison. Do you realize he's British?
Yeah.
How about you, Drew? Did you know he's British? I'm not joking. No, I'm just saying he don't come off like that, but he's a British.
Yeah.
He looked like
it was like was it Informer? Like, was it in the 80s?
No.
He was like Canadian, but he sounded reggae.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's so fun. And it's just cool. Like, I don't remember which one of you was in the UFC first. Like, did you?
Drew.
Was I?
Drew?
Yeah. You know what? Funny enough, we both kind of came through Strikeforce a little bit. But Drew was in Strikeforce way before I was as an amateur.
I found Strikeforce when I was 18.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
Very similar opponent, because Anthony later on fought the same guy.
In Strikeforce.
How the fuck is that possible? What weight was that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Do you guys remember Lumumba Sayers?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so I fought Lumumba.
At what weight?
170. All right, so this is a funny story. So I was walking around about like 163, like not heavy at all.
Yeah.
I roll into the gym and my coach is like, "Hey, we got an opportunity for you. Are you cutting weight?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "Good. We're gonna fight a Strikeforce in 2 weeks." I'm like, "Sweet. Like, what's the catch?" He goes like, "Oh, it's at 170." I'm like, "Well, how big is this dude?" And they're like, the promoter says he walks around at like 175, whatever. I was like, "All right, cool." Right. After 4 like RB French dip sandwiches, like I come in at 167, as heavy as I can, right? And then I see the dude Lumumba up on the stage, just cutting, just so hard, and doesn't make it. He's a buck, 175, just super dry. That's when I find out the dude's the 205 and 185 pound champion. This is the first time at 170, and he doesn't make it. So he's 175, I'm 167, and the athletic commission's like, "Take it or leave it."
And you
took it. I flew out here, so let's get it done.
How did that?
I guess we're taking it.
I knocked him out in 16 seconds.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, the weight cut didn't work out well for him.
Wow.
And then he ended up on
right?
And then he ended up on Dog the Bounty Hunter. You remember that shit?
I remember Dog the Bounty Hunter. I didn't know he ended up on that shit.
Yeah,
he ended up being arrested on there?
No, he ended up being like a bounty hunter, and like Dog used to travel around and work with like the local bounty hunters. Like apparently Lumumba ended up being a bail bondsman and was like hunting fucking fugitives.
There's gotta be a movie in this with his name Lumumba and like the fucking.
He was a character too. He was a character.
So would you go up in weight then, Drew, in the UFC? Would you fight at welterweight at least, or no?
Yeah, I've done it twice.
Twice.
My first fight in the UFC was at 170, and then I fought Frank Camacho at 170.
Right.
I knew that.
So I can. I just think I'm just stuck between the weight classes. Like I'm too small for 70, too big for 55. So if I want my best athletic advantage, it's at 55.
Yeah. Yeah.
Story of my life.
Yeah, I remember
Anthony.
cut down to 70. That poor guy.
Do I?
Didn't you cut down to 70?
I have, yeah.
That's disgusting.
I don't see how that's even possible.
I know.
Almost died.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not surprised.
It was my wife, like during that weight cut, I was like real close, like I don't know, 0.7 or 0.8 over, and I had like a little while to like try to make it again, and she was like using a hair dryer, and it was miserable. That's when I lost to Josh Neer right when I got cut from the UFC the first time.
Josh,
Was it 170?
I remember you coming into those weigh-ins, and I was like, man, that's too much. Like as soon as you said that you're moving up to 85, I was like,
Yep.
Thank God.
Yeah.
That's inhuman. That's like the machinist. You can't. A person of your size can't do that shit.
Yeah.
No, I did it. I did it twice, and it was
Wow.
it was awful.
Yeah. No, it's bad. It's bad. So Drew, if we do get that, you know, I know a lot of people, Kevin Lee was most famous for it, but wanting that extra weight class in between 55 and 70. So yeah, you would sign up for that one right away too, huh?
Oh, I love it. I mean, with that Eagle FC doing the 165, like, yeah, I'm into that, but I don't think it's going to be in my my lifetime that I'm going to see it. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to bite the bullet and make that 55.
Probably not before we're done, but
Yeah, I know.
195 would be
195.
195 money.
But
Man.
it is what it is. I mean, you do what you're told, and then once you get in the cage, then the fun starts.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Anthony, they fully officially announced that Blachowicz-Rakic fight. So who are you fighting?
I mean, that only leaves a couple people.
Well,
Who are you fighting?
Are you waiting on like an opponent, or like are you looking for like a month or a time frame?
I'm waiting on a bout agreement.
oh,
Really?
okay. So
Yeah,
you can't
we
really
don't
challenge the
validate it.
person.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
I mean, it's
so-
one of two people. I mean, you can ask Paul Craig if
Karyn
he's
Bryant.
got a.
I was just going to say, I was like, well, I would think right now it's the middle of the night over in Scotland, but I could probably find that out pretty soon.
Well, one of those two guys has got a bout agreement.
Nice.
And
One of the two
Well,
is
I know-
Craig or who?
Ankalaev.
Or Ankalaev, right,
Yeah.
right. And Craig already beat Ankalaev. That's a fight that he doesn't necessarily have to get back. And I know remember when we were working and you were like, oh, they're going to put Ankalaev ahead of me in the numbers.
I told you they did too.
To kind of create that fight.
They did too. Yeah, it's all a game. It's all a game.
Uncle Iev.
Good old Ankalaev.
Uncle Iev.
Yep, good old Ankalaev. God, he's got such a punchable nose too.
Oh my God.
That thing sticks out just far enough to get the shit kicked out of it. I can't wait.
Oh, I wonder who it is.
I love it.
Who
I
knows?
love it. I think it's
All right, I'm
it's
gonna
great.
get out of here. So I'm
Yeah, well, we were about to let Drew go as well too. We'll let both of you go if you want. But Anthony, I know you're so popular with Mr. Bisbing now, but anytime you want to come back over here, you know you're always welcome.
I'm right here.
He's here.
I'm right here. Oh, so funny story. We had Drew on my Sirius XM show. Just real briefly, we just wanted to get him on after his win and just give him some love. Yeah. My producer on that show, I've never met a bigger Drew Dober fan. Like I could hear her drooling on the other side of the computer screen. Like
drooling.
Oh, like when the opponent changed, and the week before she was losing her shit. She was like, I don't want him to fight. I just want him. He doesn't need to take that fight. He just needs to hang out. Like, and I was like, what is, like, Drew's fine. She was like,
she's like, I know he is. That's the problem.
She's like, it's too close. He just wasn't prepared for that type of opponent. Like, she was talking about Drew like she knew him.
Taking it hard.
Yeah, like she knew him. She's like, no, he just wasn't. He's not ready for that opponent. This is the guy he was training for. And then he fights, he wins, and she just goes on and on and on about how I just can't handle those kind of fights. Drew can't fight like that. He just
see. That's so literally the first thing I said to him when he got on the show. I'm like, hey, I'm sure all your fans are like, thanks for the heart attack, bro.
Yeah, she was losing her shit, and then so I was like, well, let's just hit him up and see if we can get him on real quick. So Drew and I have the same management, so I just hit up Sarah like, hey, get a hold of Drew. I'm on the radio. I can't do anything right now. That's the Drew Dober effect, though. He has that effect on a lot of people. And
Well, it probably helped that I showed up to your show with 2 black eyes, nearly gave her a second heart attack.
I know.
But yeah, so no joke though. Sarah called me up and goes, "Hey, Anthony wants you on your show." I was out walking my dog. We dead sprinted back to the house to make it on that show. So,
nice.
Man, you got me here.
My man.
Nice.
My man.
Nice.
All right.
Well, I got to be honest with you. It's like really heartwarming to see that you've been friends for so long, that you're both succeeding, that you're both killing it. Like now, I really hope, Anthony, that one day we do get to have Drew at the desk with us too. Like that'd be
awesome.
Really fun.
That'd be awesome. I think he'd be great at it too. I think he'd do a fantastic job. So, you got my vote. Any way I can, I'll tell the bosses I'm in.
Yeah.
Joe Band is going to be the only.
So just let me know when and where.
Hell yeah.
Hanato, though, Anthony, Hanato said our buddy Alan Joban might not be a big fan of that.
There can be only one, you know.
Listen, you ain't got to worry about me taking anybody's pretty title. That's for sure.
Joe Band, not.
Oh, I know. Listen, those two can fight that out. That's
what I'm saying. They're gonna have.
I don't have any room to fight there. I just be like, listen, I'm the guy that's here just to check the boxes. We need one real pretty motherfucker and one ugly guy. I got the ugly guy.
Oh, come on, fight professor.
Ugly guy, come on, my brother.
Come on.
All right, I love you guys.
Well, Anthony, thank you for popping in. It's always great to see you.
Later, guys. Later, Drew.
Okay, hey, check care.
Love you.
I love you too, my brother.
Later.
Stay as light as possible, okay? Okay. What?
You're supposed to say stay black, Renato.
No, I can't. Look, he is what he is, Caralho. He's a light-skinned. You have to speak to people in the language of the people.
Right.
His people was light-skinned.
To get trouble, you would call it wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing Anthony does have, Drew, that you don't have is 4 babies. Are you and the missus going to be making some kids?
I mean, we're not aiming for 4. I'm gonna leave that to Anthony. But yeah, we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Listen,
it's the next step, but it's a significant one, and definitely want to enjoy the Las Vegas weekends before.
Oh God,
yeah.
Do you like
also
money?
Not for nothing. I mean, like you you need to be selfish in your career.
Do you like your money, and do you like your sleep, and do you like enjoyment?
One of those things. I'll let you guess which one.
Yeah, because you can kiss that goodbye after the kids. They take your spirit. Just like her, she's a succubus. The children have the same fucking powers as that one. They take all the marrow out of life, the joy.
No, they don't.
I could live without sleep or money, but I'll find that enjoyment. Between women and children, they take all the above.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm really glad that we were able to catch up with you, and I love that we also got that reunion in there with Anthony. It's just great, and I don't know how soon again it is going to be that you fight, but like you said, if that Bobby Green fight actually comes to fruition, oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think a matter of it. We're focusing on when, not if.
Yeah.
Like cool. we're doing it eventually. We're just figuring out when we want to do it. And so, And as soon as I know, I'll secretly send you a no. And I would love to be back on the show.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. For the fight and for you to come back.
You're welcome anytime. Well, thank you so much, Drew. Yeah, we really appreciate you coming, and yeah, just take it easy. Best of luck. I'm glad you're healing up well. And yeah, if you ever actually do want to talk about that analyst stuff or whatever, yeah, hit me up as well, because I'd be more than happy to help you.
Definitely. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. We appreciate you coming on. And check your DM after this shit. I'm gonna send you some idea about the stuff I was talking about.
You're gonna send me the scissoring videos.
And you can take it or leave it, Caralho. But I'm serious. I'm gonna send you some shit, okay? For real.
All right. There's a disclaimer on these videos, but
it's not the kind of video.
You guys have a good night.
I'm gonna put my clothes
on. All right,
on.
Drew, take it easy.
Ciao.
Bye. We're bringing friends together.
Yeah.
It's like a kumbaya moment there. The old homies getting back together here. Like this is like, that was pretty great.
I'm sure it doesn't hurt that it's a bunch of nice, attractive men together.
I mean,
China.
oh yeah, I'm really mad at hanging out with 3 dudes on a Tuesday night.
Right.
I hate that.
It was cool. You said it was kumbaya. Yeah, it was cucumber. It's cucumber baya if you're not careful.
It was great having Lionheart pop in and everything.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I miss Lionheart.
I know.
There was an undercurrent there.
Like we said, we knew he would get so popular over on the show with Bisping, but we got him back.
I called quiet as kept. I called Anthony earlier, and I talked to him and said, "Hey, listen, I know you know Drew Dober. What? Give me some juicy stuff or something that I can fuck with him." And then he was gonna call me back, and I think maybe he just. It's my fault. I was like, yeah, you can call me in a couple hours, but a couple hours is the fucking podcast. So, but it's okay. Right. It's okay. It turned out good anyway, Karyn. And he was a good squash. I like the kid.
He's great.
I never met him in real life.
He's great. He's great. Well, we are a little late for the after party, but that's okay because
like 45 minutes, Karyn. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We're like a half hour late, but we'll get that going in a second. So we'll wrap it up here. For folks who don't know, you can look in my my stories. There's a link for the after party, or you can just go to festivities.com. But if you just go to YouTube/Karyn Bryant, or, you know, like I said, there's a link in my stories or whatever. We're going to keep this going. We have a lot of footage about UFC 273, so we'll talk 273 some more. And some stuff about, you know, like if Henry Cejudo's getting back in, we talk about and after telling the name, some of the things about the names that would be great, the words that would be great names if they didn't already mean something else. Totally silly, but very fun.
Yeah. Bill the Grill, Karyn. How you doing, my brother? Okay. We jumping up,
we just
Bill.
need about like 5 minutes.
We'll be
over there real fast. It just takes me 2 seconds. You know, like I just said, 2 seconds and 5 minutes, but it just takes me a second to kind of get the rat in the treadmill going for that, and we'll be over there in just a couple minutes. Bill
the Grill, give him 2 seconds, okay? Bill the Grill is a friend of mine who's fighting.
Oh, okay.
He just said he wanted to promote his fight for her.
So what do you?
I don't know. You want to do? I guess we could do it on the fucking YouTube one, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, if he comes over to there, we can talk to him.
He's about to fight for the UFC again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. But can we do it over there?
Yeah, Bill, join us on the fucking festivities after party. We're gonna jump over there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
Okay.
All right, cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining us here, and big thanks to Drew, and big thanks to Anthony for stopping by as well. All of these can be found on festivities.com. They also just always live on my regular Instagram feed. This was episode 31. There's a whole bunch of other ones for you to catch up on with the who's who of MMA. So hopefully you guys can check that out as well. But yeah, we'll see you in a couple minutes for the after.
Okay. Ciao. See you there.